Hello everyone and welcome back to the channel. It's been a while since I've done a commander deck video, but been working a lot, so thought I'd finally get a video in here. If you like dragons, we're going to be looking at the Dragon commander deck. Just a 10/10 flyer, but he has eminence. Can make your dragon spells cost one less, even if he's not in play. And whenever one or more dragons you control attack, draw that many cards. Then you may put a permanent card from your hand onto the battlefield. So that's nice. Very expensive, but there's plenty of ways to make them cheaper. And you want to try to get them out as quick as possible, or your other dragons out as quick as possible. Because hey, once they see him, it's like see a piece. Let's go ahead and get started. First card, we've got the Dragon Master Outcast. At the beginning of your upkeep, if you control 6 or more lands, create a 5/5 red dragon creature token with flying. And just a way to get some more dragons out there. Birds of Paradise, not a dragon, but for mana purposes. Dragon Lord's Servant. Dragon spells you cast cost 1 less to cast. So just make them cheaper. Sarkhan, Dragon Ascendant. When Sarkhan enters, you may behold a dragon. So to behold a dragon, you either reveal one from your hand, or I believe if you control one, it's the same. If you do, you create a treasure token. And whenever a dragon you control enters, put a +1/+1 counter on Sarkhan. Until end of turn, he becomes a dragon in addition to his other types and gains flying. Baby. Shaman of Forgotten Ways. Tap to add 2 mana in any combination of colors to your mana pool. Spend this mana only to cast creature spells. And then his formidable ability is basically a biorhythm. Each player's life total becomes the number of creatures he or she controls. Activate this ability only if creatures you control have total power 8 or greater. Well, with dragons, that is pretty easy. Dragonologist. When this creature enters, look at the top 6 cards of your library. You may reveal an instant, sorcery, or dragon card from among them and put it into your hand. Put the rest on the bottom of your library in a random order. Untapped dragons you control have hexproof, so they can't be the target of spells or abilities your opponents control. Dragon Speaker Shaman. Dragon spells you play cost 2 less to play. Just trying to get them out quick, as fast as possible. Nogi. Draco Zealot. Dragon spells you cast cost 1 less to cast. Whenever Nogi attacks, if you control 3 or more dragons until end of turn, Nogi becomes a dragon with base power and toughness 5/5 and gains flying. Fayborough Elder. He gets +1/+1 for each color among permanents you control. So he'd be a 2/2 if you just play him by himself for green and white. And you can tap for each color among permanents you control, add 1 mana of that color. So pretty nice in a 5-color deck. Sarkhan, Soul of Flame. Dragon spells you cast cost 1 less to cast. Whenever a dragon enters the battlefield under your control, you may have Sarkhan, Soul of Flame become a copy of it until end of turn, except its name is Sarkhan, Soul of Flame, and it's legendary in addition to its other types. It's pretty cool. Rivaz of the Claw. A 3/3 menace. Tap to add 2 mana of any combination of colors. Spend this mana only to cast dragon creature spells. Once during each of your turns, you may cast a dragon creature spell from your graveyard. Whenever you cast a dragon creature spell from your graveyard, it gains when this creature dies, exile it. Nicobolus, the Ravager. When it enters the battlefield, each opponent discards a card, and you can pay 7 and exile him, and return him to the battlefield transformed. You can only play this ability on your turn or anytime you could play a sorcery. And then if you are able to exile him, when he comes back, Nicobolus the Arisen. You can add 2 loyalty counters to draw 2 cards. You can take away 3 loyalty counters, and he deals 10 damage to target creature or planeswalker. You can take away 4 loyalty counters and put target creature card or planeswalker card from a graveyard onto the battlefield under your control. And if you get him to 12 and you can take 12 loyalty counters off, exile all but the bottom card of target player's library. So, hey, yeah, I'm gonna take away, all the cards but the bottom one of your library. Yeah, I'm gonna redirect that ability to you. Oh, well, uh, that's not good. Yeah. Zeralon of the Claw. You can pay 3 taps, search your library for a dragon card, and put it into play as though it were just played. Shuffle afterwards. That creature has haste. And remove that creature from the game at end of any turn. So that'd be good for like a, an end game type thing. You need a certain dragon to maybe buff your other dragons. Get them out there with haste. Hopefully deal enough damage. Terror of the Peaks. Spells your opponents cast that target Terror of the Peaks cost an additional 3 life to cast. Whenever another creature enters the battlefield under your control, Terror of the Peaks deals damage equal to that creature's power to any target. In a room, I think. Furkrag, Cunning Instigator. A 3/3 flying with haste. Whenever one or more dragons you control attack an opponent, go target creature that player controls. Whenever a creature deals combat damage to one of your opponents, if that creature had to attack this combat, you put a +1/+1 counter on Furkrag, and you draw a card. Zergo and a Jutai. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that correctly. A 4/4 flying haste. It has hexproof as long as it entered the battlefield this turn. Whenever one or more dragons you control deal combat damage to a player or battle, look at the top 3 cards of your library. Put one of them into your hand and the rest in the bottom of your library in any order. You may return one of those dragons to its owner's hand. So if you have Terror of the Peaks out, and another dragon in this one, I'll return the other one to your hand and maybe you can play him again to deal damage equal to its power. Rith, Liberated Primeval. Flying, Ward 2. Other dragons you control have Ward 2. At the beginning of your end step, if a creature or planeswalker an opponent controlled was dealt excess damage this turn, create a 4/4 red dragon creature token with flying. Stormscale Scion. Other dragons you control get +1/+1, and it has Storm. When you cast it, copy it for each spell cast before it this turn. Lathless, Dragon Queen. Whenever another non-token dragon you control enters, create a 5/5 red dragon creature token with flying. And you can pay 2, dragons you control get +1/+0 until end of turn. Dragon Lord Dramoka. He can't be countered, and he's a 5/7 flying lifelink. Your opponents can't cast spells during your turn. Dragon Lord Salumgar. 3/5 flying death touch. When it enters the battlefield, gain control of target creature or planeswalker for as long as you control it. So hopefully you can get something nice. Mirim, Sentinel Worm. 6/6 flying ward 2. Whenever another non-token dragon enters the battlefield under your control, create a token that's a copy of it, except it's not legendary. If that dragon is legendary. So double the types of dragons. Morophon, the Boundless. Changeling, so it's every creature type, so it counts as a dragon. When it enters, choose a creature type. Spells of the chosen type you cast cost 1 of every color less to cast. This effect reduces only the amount of colored mana you pay. Other creatures you control of the chosen type get +1/+1. Atarka, World Render. 6/4 flying trample. Whenever a dragon you control attacks, it gains double strike until end of turn. Arthas, Tyrant of Jund. 7/7 flying haste. When it comes into play, gain control of all dragons, then untap all dragons. Other dragons creatures you control have haste. So just a way to speed things up. Ureni of the Unwritten. A 7/7 flying trample. Whenever it enters or attacks, look at the top 8 cards of your library. You may put a dragon creature card from among them onto the battlefield. Put the rest of the cards on the bottom of your library in a random order. So him with haste, it enters, then it attacks. Look at the top 16, and you can get up to 2 dragons. Tiamat. When it enters the battlefield, if you cast it, search your library for up to 5 dragon cards not named Tiamat that each have different names. Reveal them, put them into your hand. Utvara Hellkite. Whenever a dragon you control attacks, put a 6/6 red dragon creature token with flying onto the battlefield. Orvold, Gleeful Glutton. The spell costs 1 less to cast for each card type among permanents you've sacrificed this turn. 4/4 Flying Trample Haste. And whenever he deals combat damage to a player, put X +1/+1 counters on it and draw X cards, where X is the number of permanent types among cards in your graveyard. Scion of Draco. The spell costs 2 less to cast for each basic land type among lands you control. A 4/4 flyer, and each creature you control has vigilance if it's white, hexproof if it's blue, lifelink if it's black, first strike if it's red, and trample if it's green. Sietri, Dragon Master. You can add a loyalty. Until your next turn, creatures can't attack you or planeswalkers you control unless their controller pays 2 life for each of those creatures. And you can -3 loyalty. Search your library for a dragon card, reveal it, put it into your hand, then shuffle. And you can -7 loyalty and destroy all non-dragon creatures. Sarkhan Unbroken. Can add a loyalty, draw a card, then add 1 mana of any color to your mana pool. Can take away 2 loyalty, put a 4/4 red dragon creature token with flying onto the battlefield. And you can -8 loyalty and search your library for any number of dragon creature cards and put them onto the battlefield. Then shuffle your library. Alright, now let's do artifacts. We have the Mox Jasper. Add 1 mana of any color. Activate only if you control a dragon. Soul Ring. Expedition Map. Pay 2, tap, and sacrifice it. Search your library for a land card, reveal it, and put it in your hand. Arcane Signet. Felwar Stone. Add 1 mana of any color that a land an opponent controls could produce. Coalition Relic. You can tap, add 1 mana of any color, tap, put a charge counter on it. At the beginning of your pre-combat main phase, remove all charge counters from Coalition Relic and add 1 mana of any color for each charge counter removed this way. So you can tap, put a charge counter on it, and then on your next turn, you can remove one to add 1 mana of any color, and then tap it to add another mana of any color, if you need to. Urza's Incubator. When it enters, you choose a creature type, and creature spells of the chosen type cost 2 less to play. That would be nice in a team game if you and your teammate are playing dragons, because it'll affect theirs. Even your opponents as well, they'd be 2 less. Timeless Lotus. It enters tapped, and you can tap it to add 1 mana of each color. Sylvan Library. At the beginning of your draw step, you may draw 2 additional cards. If you do, choose 2 cards in your hand drawn this way. For each of those cards, pay 4 life or put the card back on top of your library. Cryptolith Right. Creatures you control have tap, add 1 mana of any color to your mana pool. So for the creatures that make your dragon spells cost 1 less, you can also tap them to add a mana as well. It's a Mirror Ascendancy. Creatures you control have haste, and whenever a creature with power 4 or greater enters the battlefield, you may draw a card. Greater Good. Can sacrifice a creature, draw cards equal to the sacrificed creature's power, then discard 3 cards. Leyline of the Guild Pact. If it's in your opening hand, you may begin the game with it on the battlefield. Each non-land permanent you control is all colors. Lands you control are every basic land type in addition to their other types. Breaching Dragonstorm. When it enters, exile cards from the top of your library until you exile a non-land card. You may cast it without paying its mana cost if that spell's mana value is 8 or less. If you don't, put that card into your hand. And whenever a dragon you control enters, return this enchantment to its owner's hand. Just a way to keep playing it. Call the Spirit Dragons. Dragons you control have indestructible. At the beginning of your upkeep for each color, put a +1/+1 counter on a dragon you control of that color. If you put a +1/+1 if you put a +1/+1 counter on 5 dragons this way, you win the game. And we have Draco Genesis. You may cast dragon spells without paying their mana cost. Nothing big there. Demonic Tutor. Search your library for a card, put it in your hand. Farseek, search for a plains, island, swamp, or mountain card and put it onto the battlefield tapped. Nature's Lore, search your library for a forest card and put that card onto the battlefield, then shuffle. So I gotta have those ramp spells for the big creatures. 3 visits. Search your library for a forest card and put that card onto the battlefield. Idyllic Tutor. Search your library for an enchantment card, reveal it, put it in your hand, then shuffle your library. So that would be for, mainly either Sylvan, Call the Spirit Dragons, Dracogenesis. I mean, even Breaching Dragonstorm. Just find that enchantment that you need at the time. Crux of Fate. Destroy all dragon creatures, or destroy all non-dragon creatures. I like that picture of Ugin on there. That's nice. Haunting Voyage. Choose a creature type. Return up to 2 creature cards of that type from your graveyard to the battlefield. And if this spell was foretold, return all creature cards of that type from your graveyard to the battlefield instead. So, and you can foretell it for 7. Ruinous Ultimatum. Destroy all non-land permanents your opponents control. Last March of the Ents. This spell can't be countered. Draw cards equal to the greatest toughness among creatures you control. Then put any number of creature cards from your hand onto the battlefield. Swords to Plowshares. Exile target creature. Its controller gains life equal to its power. Cyclonic Rift. Return target non-land permanent you don't control to its owner's hand. And if you overload it for 7, you can return each non-land permanent your opponent controls to its owner's hand. Assassin's Trophy. Destroy target permanent an opponent controls. Its controller may search their library for a basic land card, put it onto the battlefield, then shuffle their library. Chaos Warp. The owner of target permanent shovels it into their library, then reveals the top card of the library. If it's a permanent card, they put it onto the battlefield. So, could be a way for you to save one of your permanents to put it back in your library if it, is in threat of being exiled or something. And then after you shuffle your library, if you can get a dragon on top, put it onto the battlefield. Doesn't have to be a dragon, just a permanent card. Sylvan Reclamation. Exile up to 2 target artifacts and/or enchantments. And it has basic land cycling. You can pay 2, discard it, and search your library for a basic land card and put it into your hand. Unite the Coalition. Choose 5. You may choose the same mode more than once. Target permanent phases out. Target player draws a card. Exile target player's graveyard. Deals 2 damage to any target. Destroy target artifact or enchantment. So choose any number of each. Whatever you need at the time. It is expensive. I'll pay 7, but that's it for the spells. And for the lands, we have Command Tower. Basically, add 1 mana of any color. Exotic Orchard. Add 1 mana of any color that a land an opponent controls could produce. Path of Ancestry. Add 1 mana of any color in your commander color's identity. And when that mana is spent to cast a creature spell that shares a creature type with your commander, scry 1. Cavern of Souls. When it enters, choose a creature type. You can add a colorless or add 1 mana of any color. Spend that mana only to cast a creature spell of the chosen type. And that spell can't be countered. Just a ridiculous land. Reflecting Pool. Add to your mana pool 1 mana of any type a land you control could produce. Mana Confluence. Tap, pay 1 life. Add 1 mana of any color. Forbidden Orchard. Tap, add 1 mana of any color, and whenever you tap Forbidden Orchard for mana, target opponent creates a 1/1 colorless spirit creature token. Cascading Cataracts. Indestructible. Can add a colorless or pay 5. Tap and add 5 mana of any combination of colors to your mana pool. Gemstone Mine. It enters with 3 mining counters on it, and you can remove a mining counter from it to add 1 mana of any color. When there are no mining counters on it, you sacrifice it. City of Brass. Whenever it becomes tapped, it deals 1 damage to you. Tap to add 1 mana of any color to your mana pool. Maelstrom of the Spirit Dragon. You can add a colorless. You can add 1 mana of any color. Spend this mana only to cast a dragon spell or an omen spell. And you can pay 4, tap and sacrifice it. Search your library for a dragon card, reveal it, and put it into your hand. Haven of the Spirit Dragon. You can add a colorless. You can add 1 mana of any color to your mana pool. Spend this mana only to cast a dragon creature spell. Pay 2, tap, sacrifice it. Return target dragon creature card or Ugin Planeswalker card from your graveyard to your hand. Crucible of the Spirit Dragon. Can add a colorless. Can pay 1, tap, put a storage counter on Crucible of the Spirit Dragon. And you can tap to remove X counters from Crucible of the Spirit Dragon and add X mana of any combination of colors to your mana pool. Spend this mana only to cast dragon spells or activate abilities of dragons. Temple of the Dragon Queen. When it enters the battlefield, you may reveal a dragon card from your hand. It enters the battlefield tapped unless you revealed a dragon card this way or you control a dragon. So that's like the same as like the Behold ability. As it enters, you choose a color and add 1 mana of the chosen color. Mirrodin's Core. Can tap to add a colorless or tap to put a charge counter on it. And you can tap to remove a charge counter from it and add 1 mana of any color. And we have the from the Cons of Tarkir set, we have the fetch lands with the dragons, skeletons. So you can tap, pay 1 life, sacrifice it, search your library for a plains or island card, put it onto the battlefield, then shuffle your library. Windswept Heath, same thing, pay a life, search your library for a forest or plains card, put it onto the battlefield. Bloodstained Mire, tap, pay 1 life, sacrifice it, search for a swamp or mountain card, and put it onto the battlefield. Polluted Delta. And this time you would pay 1 life, sack, search for an island or swamp card.
Can I read more?
And the last one, Wooded Foothills. You can pay 1 life, and sacrifice it. Search your library for a mountain or forest card. And we have the triome lands. So fetch lands would be trying to seek these out if need be. So you can add a white, black, or red, and you can cycle it if you don't need a land at the time for 3 to draw a card. Rogren Triome, and add a blue, red, or white, and same thing, you can pay 3 and cycle it. Indoltha Triome, so there's your white, black, or green. Zagoth Triome, black, green, or blue. Etria Triome, green, red, or blue. Spara's Headquarters, green, white, or blue. Raffine's Tower, so you can add a white, blue, or black. The only downside to these those triome lands and these lands are they enter tapped. But in a 5-color deck, you need to have the right colors in order to play your spells. So that's why I have them in there. So Xander's Lounge, you can add a blue, black, or red. Jetmir's Garden, red, green, or white. Viatora's Proving Ground, black, red, or green. So yes, they come into play tapped, but it is nice because they do count as the land types that you can search for with the fetch lands. Frontier Bivouac, and then we have one of each of the basic lands. So I have a plains, and then a swamp, mountain, forest, and island. I'm just missing the plains for the Dragon Eye land. And that would finish the deck. So, what'd you guys think? You like the Dragon deck? Plenty of dragons to choose from. I picked the ones I like the most, or I feel work well together. Feel free to leave a comment. What you like, what you don't like, and we'll be back soon with another commander deck. So until then, you guys have a good one.